All right, this will be an argument on the negative, arguing why Guantanamo Bay should remain open. First, I will have a 4-point refutation, and then I will go over a disadvantage. All right, so first I'm going to start with a 4-point refutation, which is my opponent says that closing Guantanamo Bay will stop torture and human rights violations. I say that this will not end torture and human rights violations, mainly because, according to multiple reputable sources, including the New York Times, after President Trump signed a 3-page draft order named the detention and interrogation of enemy combatants, it is very likely that we are going to be getting back CIA black sites. CIA black sites are secret government sites where the public is not aware of, in which unconstitutional things go on. So what I'm saying is that closing Guantanamo Bay will not solve the issue of torture and unconstitutional acts in Latin America. It's also disadvantageous to close it because since we know of Guantanamo Bay, it's easier for there to be more transparency regarding the subject. Also to note, my opponent listed tube feeding under acts of torture. Tube feeding does still happen in the United States. Most recently seen in the case of Cesar de Leon's in Wisconsin in 2016, where a judge ordered him to be force-fed because the hunger strike that he was on would have caused more permanent damage to his body. The disadvantage that I would like to address is going to start with the uniqueness, which is the United States prison system, the biggest prison system in the world. We have the most number of incarcerated individuals in our country. The United States prison system also has a huge gang problem where 2/3 of people incarcerated in U.S. prisons are in prison gangs, which are, of course, illegal. The link that I have here is that everyone in U.S. prison gangs has experienced prison conversion, which is the conversion to the religion of that gang specifically that they're in, whether it's for protection, but the primary reason is for seeking of religious meaning. Now, another reason I'd like to link these two together is because that most of the individuals being housed in Guantanamo Bay are religious extremists. They're put there because of their religious beliefs, because of religious extremism. And if we do put them in U.S. prisons, they're going to be mingled with the most of the population. And the integral link I have here is that ideologically inspired criminality is more vulnerable in the overcrowded supermax prisons, which is where the only place that we could be sending the people being held in Guantanamo currently. And it grows in secretive underground inmate subcultures, so there is no way to really monitor these individuals and how they affect each other and whether or not people are being radicalized. The impact this would have if U.S. citizens who are currently being held in supermax federal prisons are converted and made into extremists is that on United States soil, there would be terrorist individuals with intricate knowledge of society and locations in the U.S. Everyone being held currently in Guantanamo Bay does not have intricate knowledge because they didn't grow up in neighborhoods, they didn't grow up in cities, they don't necessarily know 100% how a lot of things work. If there are people that are radicalized in prisons in the United States, once they are released, because they're not being held there for life necessarily, they know the neighborhoods, they know where the most damage can be done if that happens. And ultimately, it would make it seem like if we want to shut down Guantanamo Bay and transfer individuals to the United States for money reasons, it looks you're putting American citizens at risk to be cheaper. And I'd like to end this with a quote by Henry David Thoreau, and the price of anything is the amount of life you're willing to exchange for it, which can be interpreted in two ways. And I'd like you to interpret it as in the price of anything is the amount of lives you exchange for it. So it's not just one life as your own, it's people's lives.